Euphoria, the notorious Euphoria season finale. Fans are divided and critics are tearing it apart. But most viewers seem to agree on one thing. The breakout favorites of the season are Maddy and Bishop. So I have a theory. The reason everyone loves Maddy and Bishop this season have very little to do with controversial Sam Levinson. I think we're watching a shift in what kind of characters people admire. And I even know why this is going on. 6 years ago, culture was more about broken and chaotic people. Today, it seems more into composed people. Let's start with Maddy. Unmatched black cat energy, ultimate confidence, iconic wardrobe and makeup. And despite being a bad bitch, unlike the old queen bee trope, she is loyal, she is a good friend, and she doesn't put down other women. Maddy gets her job, away most of us just dreaming. She tracks down her future boss, sits next to her in a coffee shop, and smoothly tells her exactly what she wanted to hear.
I'm not a victim, I won't be an HR nightmare, and I believe in capitalism.
It doesn't even matter if she's being completely sincere. She just reads the person perfectly and says what needs to be said. We are exhausted with people pleasing. Maddy represents the fantasy of maintaining absolute control and self-worth in a chaotic world. Flashback to the pandemic. People wanted comfort. After the pandemic, people started wanting control. After COVID, we saw a noticeable rise in trends like corpcore, office siren, structured clothing. How do I stay okay when everything around me feels unstable? It is difficult to feel ready for action and composed in pajamas, right? Maddy's aesthetic is actually her armor. Her hyper-curated appearance acts like a shield. Clothing has always been a way of projecting confidence, status, control, and competence. But in today's visual-first culture, its impact amplified even further. Then we have Bishop. In a season that feels like a brutal crime drama, Bishop became an instant favorite. Look, we are living in an era of non-stop talking. We are talking about our feelings, processing our emotions, and showing our vulnerability. And I'm not saying it's bad, but Bishop does the exact opposite. He speaks very little, he rarely smiles, and he explains nothing.
Hey, I'm Maddy.
Because he doesn't hand us his emotions, the viewer is forced to decode them. And that's an interesting puzzle. When it finally shows even a micro emotion, like that one rare subtle smile to Maddy, that moment weighs 10 times more. In a culture obsessed with oversharing, we are looking at a character who refuses to explain himself or complain about his life. He doesn't look for validation and he doesn't talk about his trauma. Every emotion is shown through action, not words. And he operates entirely on his own moral code. And you know who Bishop really reminds me of? Ghost Dog, for anyone who remembers. Audiences right now hold an immense cynicism toward institutions and corrupt authority figures. When people feel like the state won't help, the police won't help, and the system is broken, we look for a hero who relies strictly on themselves. Bishop operates inside a criminal drug ring, but he keeps his own strict code of ethics. That feels satisfying to watch. The shift from chaotic characters to composed ones isn't new. It happens in cycles throughout history. Look back in a decade between 2010 and 2020, pop culture was all about broken, self-destructive, chaotic, hyper-reflective people. Say Joker, Fleabag, BoJack Horseman, Girls. The main cultural questions were, what is wrong with me? Or why am I suffering? Or just, look at my pain. This was the era of therapy culture, mental health awareness, trauma, and vulnerability. But around 2020, the question changed. It stopped being, why am I suffering? And became, how do I function? How do I get through the day? When time feels turbulent, institutional trust drops, and people experience oversharing fatigue, they actively seek out cinematic space of neo-Western, open spaces, focus on survival, and stoic characters who rely on a strict internal moral code rather than on broken external system. That is why we're seeing rise of neo-westerns, popularity of stoicism, self-improvement content, and memes about strong aura. We saw similar tendencies in late 1940s and 50s after World War II. Idealism died, and a film noir era was born. Audiences wanted tight-lipped lone wolves who didn't complain about their trauma. They just lit a cigarette, stayed quiet, and survived. It's where the femme fatale archetype came from. Women who survived brutal wars through emotional control, much like Maddy with her business mind and composure. Thankfully, this archetype has evolved. Unlike the tragic femme fatales of the past who were shaped by male fears of powerful sexual women and usually punished with death or prison, Maddy is grounded and stable. Moreover, she doesn't treat other women as enemies. Thanks to years of feminism, a modern world finally values female solidarity. Back to the tendencies. We saw them again in 1970s during Watergate scandal and Vietnam War crisis. People lost faith in the system. They were tired from politicians' beautiful, deceitful speeches. Naturally, they fell in love with Clint Eastwood's stone-faced outsiders. Their silence basically said, everything you say is a lie, only actions matter. So in comfortable, stable times, society leans toward hyper-emotionality. Prosperous years give us the mental resources to look inward and analyze our pain. But in time, turbulence, that emotional bandwidth disappears. The question becomes how to survive it all. And that is where we are right now. Which is why I want to ask you a deeper question to look inward. Have you noticed a shift in your own tastes over the years? Do you find that chaotic, hyper-reflective characters you might have loved in the past no longer resonate? Or have you always gravitating toward these kind of trends, regardless of the era? Let me know in the comments.